Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Great Commission Women podcast. I'm your host, Ava Bardsley, and I wanted to give you a quick word about this podcast before we start. The guest on today's episode serves and ministers a restricted, persecuted country, and for her safety, we've removed her name. We would ask you to please pray for her in the ministry, that there would be safety for them, that they would be able to continue ministering and sharing the gospel with the people of this country. I hope that you guys get to sit and listen and are impacted by her story. This episode's a little different. We're just going to sit and reflect on what the Lord has done in her life and how we can personally look for ways to serve the Lord, serve those around us, and have a fire lit in our hearts for missions. So I hope you guys enjoy. Hey everyone, and welcome back to this next episode of Great Commission Women. I'm so glad that you guys have tuned back in. Thank you for being on today.
Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be here on your podcast today, and I hope we'll have a great time.
Why don't we just jump in and talk a little bit about yourself?
I am from Belarus, and all my adult life I've been running a ministry, Spring of Revival, to poor people, orphans, and I have a family. I have a husband. We have 4 children, 1 boy and 3 girls, and right now we live in the United States.
Wonderful. Let's dive into kind of your ministry and talk a little bit about how you came to faith and how you felt called to serve the orphans in Belarus.
That's my most favorite topic to talk about because it does cover a lot of things and it's very inspiring. I grew up in a non-Christian family in Belarus, and I have never heard about God. During the communist times, it was forbidden. We didn't go to church. There were no churches. Everything was communist. And with the fall of the regime in the 90s, Christianity came to Soviet Union and to Belarus as well. And when I was a teenager, on one of those days, I met American missionaries on the streets of my hometown. And they told me about Jesus. They gave me a Bible. And I was so excited because I have never heard that before. Later on, I went to college to the capital of the city, and there I met some Belarusian Christians that started a church that was actually started by my husband's family. So my husband's family was believers, was Christians under the communist regime. His father was in jail for 5 years for being a believer. He was taken right from the church service and put for 5 years of severe regime just for doing the church. And when he came out of prison, he decided to have many children and big family, and for all of them to serve Jesus. And so there are 12 children in the family. And now they all have their families and their children. So my immediate family on my husband's side is about 100 people.
Oh my word, that's crazy.
And when the freedom came, they took out guitars. They went on the streets of our city and shared with people about Jesus. And that's how it drew people together. One of the brothers took his monthly salary and rented a movie theater for the Sunday service. They collected an offering, and it was enough to rent for another service next week. So that's how the church began. And I came to join it in 1996 when it was about 600 people at that time. And one day at church, we had an opportunity to go on a mission trip to Russia to help American teams with interpreting for the orphans. I absolutely loved the idea and I wanted to go. I was 17 at that time, and that was my first mission trip. And I loved every minute of it. My only concern was what happens to orphans when all those short-term missions leave.
Yeah.
And I started asking, I worked with different teams, and I started asking everyone, would you come to Belarus? Would you come to Belarus? I live in Belarus. We have so many orphans and people and kids who need help. Come to Belarus, and then I can do ministry full-time there. And in 5 years of my mission work in Russia, nobody came.
Mm.
So then I decided to start it by myself. And in 2000, that's how Spring of Revival began.
Mm. And that's the name of your ministry,
Yes.
right?
It's based on Isaiah 58, verses 11 and 12. And you will be like a well-watered garden who will restore many generations of your nation.
Mm.
And I really loved that idea because originally orphanages appeared in the Soviet Union after the Second World War because the parents died.
Mm.
And it was viewed as a temporary event so that as the kids get older, they have their families, there will be no more need for the orphans. Surprisingly, those kids who grew up in the orphanages, as they got older, they did not know how to care for their children. And so their children ended up in the orphanages. And not only it stopped the program, but it increased the number of orphans.
Yeah.
So Spring of Revival started in 2001. And at that time, when a child became an orphan, and we do have many social orphans, meaning the parents are alive, but they do not take care of the children, they give them up, or they're either in prison or drinking too much alcohol. So when a situation like that happened to a child was put into a hospital to stay there with sick children for several months until all the paperwork was in proper place, and then the child would go to an orphanage. So I started with the little hospital in our neighborhood, and as kids were moved to different orphanage locations, I and my friends, we went to visit that one particular child when we realized there were many more. And my first natural concern and need was for their physical needs because they did not get clothes, shoes, whatever basic needs. And we started with that. And as we continued and grew into relationships, I realized they need more training, they need life skills. So we moved on to the cooking classes, English lessons, life skills classes. And we did that on a regular basis in the orphanages. All the orphanages in Belarus are state run. And then we did summer camps, winter camps when we take them out. And there we could actually do more work, deeper relationships, share our personal beliefs, and encourage kids to follow Christ. Later on, shelters also were opened. So instead of going to the hospitals, the kids would go to a shelter for 6 months with a possibility of going back to biological family if parents decide that they can handle that. So we started helping families, biological families, to take their kids back and then supporting them. So that's what we call Adopt a Family program. We have families that we help on a regular basis all the time, help them stay together so that they don't go to the orphanage. As they leave the orphanage at the age of 15, sometimes 16, they have no clue how life happens.
Yeah.
So we do a lot of training and helping those who get out. And we have family home for boys, family home for girls, where they can stay for a few years, and we help them to get education, to get knowledge, and to start life on their own. Besides, we work with village kids, especially near the Ukrainian border, where they lack food mostly, and we bring a lot of food, we bring support. And in some areas, there are no churches at all. So we are the only Christian influence that they have and that they know. Yes, so that's some of our programs. We also started working with special needs, and that's we do a prom night to shine by Team Tebow. We also visit them on a regular basis and do programs for them and provide for their physical needs. In Belarus, special needs are not integrated into the education system. We don't have many ramps, and so those people are very much isolated. So we like to bring hope to them and to bring Jesus to them.
That's amazing. What are your plans going forward for the ministry? Do you have any goals for this year of things you'd like to get done, new things you're planning?
Thank you for this wonderful question. Right as we speak, we are having a meeting in Belarus with the volunteers because one of the biggest events coming up for Belarus is Night to Shine. It's a prom for special needs. And this year it will happen in 2 locations in Belarus
Okay.
where 130 special needs people will enjoy a prom with red carpet, limousines, food, dancing that they have never experienced in their life.
So cool.
So this is for the February. In January, we just finished our Christmas outreach and we were able to reach 400 children
Amazing.
in orphanages. And one of our exciting things that we started doing every year, is a Christmas Express. It's a double-decker bus that we use to put orphans. We did 2 this year. We put orphans in one of them and special needs in another. And while on the bus, they hear the story of Jesus, and some play some games, sing some songs. Then the bus goes around the city to look at Christmas trees. And at one of them, they get out and they do some dancing. They have some fun. We give them gifts, and not only shampoo and toys and games and candy, but also Bible. And that was very amazing. And one of the reasons why we do it and why we like this idea is because our church in Belarus a few years ago was completely bulldozed by the authorities, and we do not have a place to meet. So getting a double-decker bus serves as a building to share Christmas versus a church building. Besides that, we also plan to do a summer camp. Last summer, we did 6 camps, and some of them day camps, some of them overnight camps for different categories in different locations. For Easter, we like to do food bags for the families that are in great need. Again, share the gospel with them. In August, we usually do backpack campaigns, so we collect backpacks, and last summer, me and my family physically delivered them through the airline. We went to Belarus. Easier way to buy everything there, and then we go to distribute the school supplies and backpacks so kids can be ready for school. So those are some of our main projects that we do throughout the year.
What advice / wisdom would you give on how to live a Christ-centered life for people who are looking to serve Christ with their lives and minister to the people around them?
I would start with everybody has their own journey, and as 1 John 4:19 says, we love because he first loved us. I think this is a key verse to every Christian person, that before you even started your life, your way with God, he first loved you. And as he loved us, now it's our natural desire and our natural response is we love him. And when you love somebody, you trust that person. You trust, you rely, you want to do something special for that. So when we talk about Jesus, knowing that he loved us so much, that now how can we love him back? Can we love him through our life, through our deeds, through our actions, through our words? Can we love him through serving other people? So this is the question I would encourage everyone to ask, to ask themselves. And another way in your Christian life, it's talking about trust in God. Do you trust God in every day of your life, or do you trust yourself? There are certain situations and certain life happenings where you have to think, I need to react fast, I need to do something about it. Or do you step behind and do you think, I will let God take care of it because I trust him and he can work it out for good. In Proverbs 3:5-6, it says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding is a biblical principle that we should trust God and lean on not on our own understanding. Here I would like to share a little bit of my story. A few years ago, when my family came to the United States, uh, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I never thought that would ever happen to me, because I've been a Christian all my life, since my being a teenager, and I served God all those years. And you think that God, I love you, I serve you, and I want to do more for you. And then one day you realize that you are between life and death. Basically, I was diagnosed in Belarus, and among many people I know back there, they died. So my natural reaction was, I'm gonna die. So I said goodbye. It was during one of our mission trips, mission visits, and I said goodbye to all my friends, to my family, because I thought I would never see them again. And then I went to the United States to get my treatment. That was very hard. And all I learned through this situation is that God works for you for good, and you need to trust him that he will bring you through. That really deepened my relationships with Jesus. And every day you just get up and say, thank you, God, for another day, which is beautiful. And what can we do together? And Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good for those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose.
Amen.
So I know that everything works for good, and God allows us to go through different ways in our lives in order to become stronger in our faith, in order to love him more, in order to have our values deepen, and to be in deep relationships with Jesus. And as long as we live, God is with us, and everything works for good. So I would encourage you to look at your everyday situation. And if you happen to be in a difficult one, just keep trusting God. Keep loving on him, and keep to his word, to his promises, because everything works for good for those who love him.
I love
Keep loving
that.
him.
How can we be praying for the ministry and support you as you're going through your ministry?
So right now, so please, one of the biggest prayer requests is to pray for protection and safety of all the team. Wherever they go to share the gospel. Not all the time it's allowed, not all the time it's encouraged. They have to go through difficult situations. Sometimes we have to do it undercover. Sometimes, we have to be very protective. And so pray for the protection of the people in the ministry. Pray for the health, good health. Pray for God to send more workers in Belarus, because it's very difficult to get to Belarus right now, as it's a closed country. You cannot fly from Europe. You cannot take a train. There are different logistics issues. So let's pray that God will allow people to come and serve and help. For the children, of course, pray for them to find God, because we share, we encourage, and we want them to meet Jesus personally. Because once you meet him personally, just like I did when I was a teenager, it changes your life forever.
Yeah.
And people who shared with me about Jesus, I don't remember their names, and they have no clue what happened with me in my life.
Yeah.
That's why I know that mission work and sharing with people about Jesus really works, as it's my example. So you may not see the results yourself, but God can create a beautiful story out of you sharing with somebody about him. So keep that in mind, that he works in miraculous ways, and we always have to trust him. Pray for the provision, that God will help to provide and meet all the needs, because the needs are great. Even today, I got a request from a single mom who has 5 kids, and she only had $25 left to support the family for food, and her youngest daughter got sick and they had to spend it on medication. So she reached out to us today and asking, can you please provide me some food? And we get those requests every other day from different families, and it's really a necessity to be able to help people and encourage them. When we met her through the orphanage director. She asked us to help her because she was really down and she needed some psychological help. So the orphanage director asked us, can you provide her with a psychologist? And we thought, we don't have a psychologist, but we can meet with her and tell her about Jesus. And like 5 years ago, we started meeting with her and talking to her. She had lots of issues, but over those years, she became a believer. Her children accepted Jesus, and they started going to a local church in their area. And I think it's a tremendous result because you can see how ministry, working and helping even with food needs, can bring people to follow Jesus.
That's amazing.
So pray for all of that, for the ministry, and also for more workers, because the harvest is plentiful. So that's what one of our needs is to pray for the workers.
Okay. Yes, we will be praying for you. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and I hope that your story was inspiring to everyone to want to serve Christ more wholeheartedly and trust in Him. And thank you for what you're doing for the kingdom. We'll be praying for you.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for having such a wonderful podcast that it can encourage young people to know Christ, to follow Christ, and with Him, our life is an adventure. So you're always on a journey that you never know. Just think of how exciting you are when you go somewhere for a travel. But as you think of your life, everyday life with Jesus, it's a travel, it's a journey, and you never know what you're going to see next time, but it's all going to be exciting.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.